Hi, Michelle here, and I'm going over different resources that I'm using in terms of acquiring the language of Spanish. I'm on month 4 currently of being dedicated and serious to my Spanish journey. And the other resource that I want to talk about is Duolingo. So for me, Duolingo, I have been on and off for Duolingo probably for, I would say, at least 5 years. But at one point, I did commit to Duolingo, and I did complete a tree. So I know you're going to hear a lot of different versions, whether people like Duolingo or they don't like Duolingo. Basically, this is my review of Duolingo, and I will say that I do love Duolingo. And for that is because when I did complete the tree, while I was completing it, I had a notebook. So this is the first time I completed an entire tree in Duolingo. And so what I did is I had a notebook, and I would go over, if it was a different tense I was learning, like I would even go further and like go online or go to Google and search like, why is this tense happening? What is the meaning behind this tense? Just so I can get a deeper understanding. And so that really helped me in my journey of learning words, understanding conjugations and things like that. So I completed a tree, and because Duolingo also does its updates as well, so my tree looks a little different. So now I'm going back around through my tree again, and I am, completing each level. And now there's something different where it's like legendary. That's how it's set up for me in my phone in my tree. And so I'm just doing it again. And for me, it's putting something in front of me that I can actually, do something that pertains to acquiring the language. Because before it was like, well, I'm not going to watch anything, or I'm not going to do any studying outside of Duolingo. But for me, if it was like, if I did one thing, it's like I'm still putting practice in. There's still some consistency. It doesn't have to be 1 or 2 hours. If I can get 15 minutes in, I'd rather do 15 minutes than do 0 minutes. And so that's the benefit of having Duolingo on my phone. Also, the stories are nice too, because obviously that helps me with my comprehension. And then another thing that I would say is helpful is a Duolingo podcast. So because I've been getting more serious on my journey, I actually started all over, like from the first episode when the podcast was created. And I'm going to start from the beginning. I'm going to listen to every podcast episode. And what is beneficial about the podcast is that it is in Spanish. But what's important to me is that you have someone who kind of chimes in English to go over like different words, or just kind of narrate the story a little bit to help you, or just understanding like the way Spanish may be spoken in different accents in different parts of the world. And so I find that very important. Also with the podcast, it does have transcriptions, so you can read along. I started to read along, but then I was getting too caught up in, and I mean, when I did the transcriptions, this was probably like at least a year or two ago, where I was getting too caught up in reading and like looking up every word I didn't understand, and then it was just taking forever for me to get through a 15-minute podcast episode. But I will say, now that I have been listening to Duolingo, because I'm doing more comprehensible input, which I'm going to get to that in another video, I have been listening to Duolingo podcasts like on my drives, and I'm so proud of myself because I am understanding so much more in terms of hearing it, understanding the tenses, and just comprehending a story is amazing. It's definitely something that I am proud of myself about. So that is my recommendation, or my review. It's not a recommendation. It's my review on Duolingo. So like I say, try it, because just because it didn't work for someone else, or if it did work for someone else, the only person that matters if it works for is you. And it's almost just saying like, how does this help me? How does this serve me? Maybe the Duolingo tree doesn't help me, but the podcast helped me, or vice versa. Or maybe I just want to listen to the stories because they're short little stories. And that helps me with my comprehension daily, whatever that looks like. And I like the fact that they have a tracking system, so I can see like when I go on a streak. It's just those reminders that help me just keep practicing and continue to stay like motivated. Even if I feel tired, it's like I can do that while I lay in bed, or wherever. So that is my review on Duolingo. I give Duolingo 2 thumbs up because it has definitely helped me in my Spanish journey. Also because like just from when I've done the tree, completed the tree quite a while back, it's still stuff that I have retained. And then if I just need a quick refresher, it's like boom. It kind of helps me tune back in as to like what I was thinking about or what I learned, and it kind of, what is it? It shakes your memory, or I don't remember what it is. But basically it gets my memory going. I'm like, oh yeah, I do remember that. Anyways, that's it for now. Duolingo, 2 thumbs up. Try it. Let me know what you think down in the comments.